Right. And lastly, how has domestic politics and public sentiment in both these countries played out? Do you see any similarities or differences between the two?
Look, I think both governments have activated their populations and created some very, high expectations in terms of um, defending national honor, seeking retribution. I think, there was a significant gap, if I could say so, between Prime Minister Modi's rhetoric and the sort of very carefully, specifically calibrated uses of force carried out by the Indian military. I think in practice, quite careful, quite nuanced. I think in rhetorical terms, quite sweeping, quite strong. And similarly on the Pakistani side, right? There was a lot of very powerful rhetoric emanating from both civilian and military leaders, but the actual application of force, I think, was very carefully calibrated to avoid miscalculation, misunderstanding, unintended escalation, and so forth. And I think that's probably tough for leaders on both sides to manage, right? It might explain why the Indian military has been very untransparent in sort of explaining and discussing operations on day one, why they've refused to really engage with the facts surrounding aircraft losses and so forth, which is effectively, ceded ground for anyone with a social media account and a conspiracy theory about what may have happened. And it's quite unfortunate that they've let that narrative go. But it's undoubtedly, in some respects, reflections of the pressure that they're feeling domestically from a population that is, really looking for a strong response.
Right. Any closing thoughts? Anything that you'd like to dig deeper into?
Just that, we really, this is a really watershed event. Now I'm speaking as an academic here, that we are in undiscovered territory in the sense that we have no historical examples of multiple uses of air power by two nuclear armed states against each other. I think some of the media rhetoric around nuclear risk and so forth is overblown. And again, the two sides in practice actually seem to operate in a quite restrained and carefully calibrated manner.